Hello guys, it's MashTec here. Today I want to show you another great retro gaming handheld that I didn't want to miss in my collection because of its beautiful design and strong emulation power, the Powkiddy A19. This device catch my attention because it emulates systems from GameBoy up to Dreamcast in a very fluid way and comes with great features like internal Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, microHDMI-out, a great display and Android as operating system. In my opinion, this is one of the most underrated handhelds out there. We're gonna take a closer look, test some games on it, hook it on to a TV or monitor and try to connect external controllers to it. Let's come to the journey and experience this device together with me. The Powkiddy A19 is available in 3 different colors: a classic black and white, a light ocean blue, and my favorite color combination, orange-black. That reminds me of my old Game Boy Color. The A19 comes in a very minimalistic design that I personally like very much. Combined with that look, it has some low-profile buttons all around the device, except the analog stick. This input somehow breaks the overall compactness of the device and prevents it from being pocket-friendly. Beside the volume control buttons on the right hand side, it comes with a micro HDMI-out port and 3.5mm audio jack, a micro SD card slot and the micro USB charging port on the top side of the device. On the left hand side we find the power button and the power LED. Let's take a look at the technical specs of the A19. It's powered by a 1.3 GHz ARM Cortex A7 quad-core CPU and has 512 MB of RAM. The 3.5-inch IPS screen has a resolution of 640x480, what is great for PS1 and Dreamcast games because it fits exactly to their native resolutions. It has a huge 4000 mAh battery that lasts for a playtime of up to 8 hours. For wireless connectivity, it supports 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi with all common standards and Bluetooth 4.0. The microSD card containing the games is accessible by an external SD card slot covered with a rubber pad to protect it from dust. You can hook it up to a TV or monitor using the micro HDMI-out port, and thanks to the OTG micro USB port, you can also connect external controllers to the device directly. One downside of all these micro ports is the fact that you will always need an adapter to connect the full-size plugs. The 3.5mm audio jack allows to connect headphones or external speakers. It runs Android 6.0 and comes with more than 2000 pre-installed ROMs on 12 different emulation systems. Matching the minimalistic design of the handheld, the box only includes a 1m micro USB to USB-A charging cable and the device itself. At least I expected to get a user manual that explains the buttons and some of the menu items. But no worries guys, I will guide you through. Now let's power on the device and measure the time it needs to start into the main menu. "35 seconds is a damn long startup time and it feels like forever if you just want to pick up the device for a quick game. This is definitely a downside of this handheld. Let's take a look at the display of the device. The 3.5-inch IPS display has really good viewing angles. Especially for up-down movements, it's very stable. Leaning from one side to the other darkens the screen a bit, but not in a way that it bothered me. Now let's open up the system settings and take a look at the most interesting entries here. To get into the system settings, you need to press and hold down the home button for about 2 seconds. The first entry is the handheld settings. Here, you can configure your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connections or change the brightness and volume levels. At the key settings, you can test the current button assignment and remap the buttons of the device or of connected controllers. At the game settings entry, you can set graphic filters, what I will show you soon in detail, edit the favorites and game list, delete games on the device or manage the games you added, what I will show you later in this video. At the game market, you can download further games to the device using the Wi-Fi connection. You can find games here either by categories or a name-based search option. This is a pretty comfortable way to add further games to a retro gaming handheld like this. The user wizard is another great feature of the A19. In general words, this is the user manual of the device. It explains the key layout, key introductions, interfaces, how to add the game list and combo keys, and how to set up an external controller. I like this idea very much because like that you always have the user manual with you in case you need to look up a functionality. The last two entries allow you to change either the language or reset all settings back to its default values. Now let's take a look at the different graphic filters you can apply at the example of the GameBoy emulator. With no filter active, you get the closest representation of the original console or handheld, like you can see here on the dotted image in Super Mario Land. The high quality filter smoothens and rounds the graphics and makes the content look very plastic and unusual. The anti-aliasing filter straights the pixelated lines, but due to some miscalculations, they sometimes break, as you can see at the pyramids in the background. The scanline filter is my favorite. It's very close to the original image but adds this retro scanlines from old TVs to it, what I personally like very much. These filters work for most other emulators as well. One thing to mention is that the HQ filter comes along with some additional battery drain because of the extra CPU power that is required to apply it. Now let's jump back to the main menu and check out the available emulators of the A19. One thing I like very much about the menu layout are the video previews for pre-installed and downloaded game titles from the store. I like this feature very much to explore new games on the device. To navigate through the available emulation systems, you need to press the D-pad up button until you access the menu bar. Here you can choose categories, and back in the titles list you can use the D-pad left right button to switch in between the 12 available systems. Here we got PlayStation Portable, PlayStation 1, the N64, Nintendo Entertainment System or Famicom, the Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy and Game Boy Color, Sega Mega Drive/Genesis, PC Engine, Sega Dreamcast, Final Burn Alpha for Capcom, and Mammy for all other arcade games. Let's hook it on to my monitor and check out some gameplay together. Therefore, you need to connect the microHDMI to full-size HDMI adapter between the A19 and your TV or monitor. The output will automatically be directed to the HDMI-out port as soon as you connect the cable.
3, 2, 1, go! Rise from your grave. Here's the tip.
Harper delivers a facial. Spud Webb launches a shot. Tisdale comes away with the board. To Harper. For two. He's heating up. A wild shot. Is rejected. Head fake. Shoots for three.
Now let's try to connect some Bluetooth and USB controllers. I got my 8-bit gamepad here, so let's pair it using the built-in Bluetooth of the A19. In the settings, you need to enable Bluetooth and search for nearby devices. After the controller was found, I just need to select it from the list and both devices got paired. I can now control the handheld with my gamepad. Let's go and play some game using the wireless controller. The controller performs perfectly with the A19 and I felt no input lag by it. In case you don't like the default button mapping, you can always go back to the settings and remap the buttons for your personal needs. Especially for games that require shoulder buttons, to play them in a decent way, I appreciated the Bluetooth connection with my 8-bit gamepad. Once you have paired the Bluetooth controller with this device, it will always remember and connect it automatically as soon as it turns on again. Same goes with a USB controller. Thanks to the OTG functionality of the USB port, you can directly make use of USB controllers on the A19. The only thing you need is a micro USB to full-size USB adapter. There, I connected my wireless USB dongle for my 2.4 GHz gamepad. For sure, no pairing is required here, so the controller will work directly as soon as you got it connected. Also, the USB controller worked totally fine for me, but I still prefer the 8-bit because it doesn't require the extra adapter. You can easily remap the buttons of your controller in the handheld settings. There, you find an entry in the key settings called Gamepad Settings that lets you reassign the buttons one by one. If you like to add your own game ROMs to the A19 without using the game store, you can easily copy them over to the SD card. Pull down the rubber pad from the SD card slot and release the microSD card. After you've inserted the card to your PC, open the associated drive. Here, you need to navigate to a folder called Games Download. This is the location where all your ROMs go. You can just put your ROMs in here or organize them by using subfolders with the associated system names like I already did. I've just put some Dreamcast, GameBoy, N64 and PlayStation 1 games to it for demonstration. After you've copied over your ROMs, you need to add them to the main menu. Let me show you how to do that. First, release your SD card safely from your PC, put it back onto your A19 and power it up. Back on your device, you need to open the system settings again and choose Game Settings from the list. At the Game Settings, you need to scroll all the way down to External Games Management. Here, you'll find our recently added ROM folders. You can now choose and enter a folder by pressing the A button. Now choose a game by pressing the A button again and assign the associated emulator to it. In this case, I choose the Game Boy/Game Boy Color emulator for Super Mario Land. Now we successfully assigned the emulator to the ROM. You need to repeat this step for each game you add, like shown here with another example of a N64 title. Back at the main menu, the recently added game titles will appear in the overall games list, as well as in the system section of the categories column, where you can start the game now. Finally, let's come to my conclusion about this device. The Powkiddy A19 is a very powerful handheld, and even though this device is over a year old, it can take the competition with a RT351 or Odroid Go Advance in terms of emulation power. All systems from Game Boy up to PSP, N64 or Dreamcast can be emulated, except some demanding titles. For a vertical handheld, it comes with a comparable 480p display and a 4:3 aspect ratio. With Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on board, it allows to make use of the internal ROM marketplace and gives you the option to connect an external Bluetooth controller without the need of additional adapters. As far as I know, an internal ROM market is a very unique feature and most comfortable way to add ROMs to a device like this, even though I find it very questionable in terms of legality. Together with the HDMI-out support, you can turn this device into a retro gaming station to play games with an external controller from your couch on a big screen. The external access to the microSD card slot gives you the option to easily add your own ROMs to the A19. Even though the joystick breaks the overall compactness of the device a bit, it is very handy and fits perfectly to my thumb. As a personal plus, I have to say that I like the minimalistic design and the color variants of the A19 very much. Now let's come to the points I like to complain about. First of all is the mono speaker that comes along with poor audio quality. Rather, use the headphone jack to connect a headset or external speaker. My second point is the long startup time. It's really annoying to wait over half a minute for this thing to take you into the main menu if you pick it up for a quick game. The last point is the lack of shoulder buttons on this device. I know many people already complain about it, but I would like to relativize this point a bit. In my opinion, this is not a showstopper. For sure, it mainly depends on the games you play, but most of the games I play don't need shoulder buttons. And in case you really need them, you can map them to other buttons on the device or use an external controller with it. That's my conclusion about this device. If I'd have to compare the Powkiddy A19 with the other handhelds I own or tested so far, I'd give it a 7 out of 10 points for a retro gaming handheld. I hope you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful to either decide if this handheld could be an option for you, or in case you already own it, I hope you still found some helpful hints in this video to improve your experience with it. I'd appreciate your feedback with a thumbs up or a comment in the video description, and would like to know what you think about the design and the internal ROM marketplace. Feel free to stay with me and subscribe to my channel, so we'll see each other again here. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.